Inside the Connection, a podcast by HCTC, the Hill Country's leader in telecommunications products and services. If you're from Texas, you have no doubtably heard about an 8-second ride. But what do you know about a 6-second commute? Welcome to Inside the Connection, a podcast where we take a deeper dive into the articles of our bi-monthly magazine. Our guest today is my wife, Stephanie, and we are talking about the article called The 6-Second Commute that was in our July-August 2020 Connection magazine. Although the article is not specifically about her, she has the most work-from-home experience of anyone that I know, and her office is right down the hall from my own. With the new work-from-home situation that is affecting most of us, there is always more to the story than can be captured in a simple magazine article. I don't know if I twisted your arm to be my guest on the show, but no doubt you do have 14 years. Is that right? 14 years
That's
experience
true.
Doing this?
Since 2006.
So tell us exactly what it is that you do.
I am a talent acquisition partner for a global technology company, which basically means I lead teams in 4 different regions: the U.S., South America, Europe, and Asia.
So how did you end up working from home?
Back in 2006, I had the opportunity to make that migration from Houston to the Hill Country. I was going to put in my letter of resignation and hopefully find something that would work for me. My manager introduced me to this new concept, work from home. And from that, it just kind of took off. They were doing a little test trial of it with about 500 employees. That's all she wrote.
So 15 years ago, work from home was kind of a new concept. People didn't work from home. I mean, some people did, but it was one of those jobs you found in the back of a magazine licking stamps for, I don't know, some
Sure.
silly job, but not a professional career. You had a professional career, especially I guess in Houston. You know, you went to a big building. You strove. The goal was to get the corner office with the glass. You know, the reserved parking space, I guess. Well,
Right.
You don't have any of that working from home. You typically have the kitchen table or the bedroom nightstand, with a laptop sitting in a chair or something. So you gave up the corporate life, I guess, to work at home. What the benefit
Right.
trade-off? Tell me about it.
So you're exactly right. I have always been in the staffing industry. I always knew my first goal in life was to be a mom, and I thought, what better world that I could be in to balance the two, be able to be a single mom, have a lifestyle of being a mother, as well as bringing home that corporate paycheck and making a substantial mark in my industry all at the same time. And I was able to balance it.
Now, some businesses, when you talk about work from home, they're thinking that you're going to take advantage of them, that you're never going to go to work, that you're going to, I don't know, eat chips on the couch and all day long and watch the news or soap operas or whatever you do. But I know, working at home with you, it's not an 8 to 5 job. It certainly is an 8, but I mean, here it is. It's almost 10 o'clock and we're still working. This is almost our norm. We will break for dinner, but we work until sometimes 9 or 10
Sure.
o'clock at night. So
Sure, yeah.
we're not taking advantage of the company.
Right.
I should say that. And I realize my company I'm doing this for my company, but I watch you. You've been at your desk until midnight at times, and I've been in there
Oh, yeah.
going, you need to come to bed. You need to shut that off.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, just 2 more hours. So, I mean, there is no 8 to 5 really when you're
Sure.
working from home, right?
Sure. And it depends on who you ask. So my mom one time, when in 2006, my daughter was starting kindergarten, it was perfect time for her to go to school and me to work while she was in school, those sorts of things. One day my daughter said something and to my mother and said, what do you think she does all day? And she responded to say, take baths, eat chocolate, and sit in her pajamas. Well, that's not really the case that it was. So we kind of all laughed about it. It's a balance, right? So when she was in school, now she's in college, I felt that I would work more than I typically did. So I would get up before she did. I'd start my day at 5 or 6 o'clock, work about 2 hours, take her to school. And I thought, oh gosh, since I just spent 10 minutes running her down the road to school, I'm going to overcompensate. So, and again, I picked her up, sitting in the line 20 minutes. So I was like, oh my goodness, I spent 30 minutes just picking her up from school, and thinking that's really not the case. Sitting in an office when I'd go to work in Houston, I would go to lunch with my girlfriend. Sometimes it'd be an hour and 10 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes. So I found myself spending more time at home, and overcompensating. It was a huge adjustment because I felt I've been fortunate to stay home, so I'm going to overcompensate. And it's easy. It's easy to say, well, I would typically be in the car, from 6:30 to 8 in Houston traffic. And then again, it's, from 5 to 6:30. So I'm just going to work a little extra. And you have to quit. One of my bad habits is since I do work for a global company, I'm on all different time zones.
That's right.
And that's when you've come in there and said, okay, can you be done now? So, calls happen at 10 o'clock at night, sometimes for me, sometimes at 8 o'clock, or sometimes 5 a.m. in the morning. So allowing myself to make a run for an hour during the day is like your typical lunch hour. But
I guess that's true. The Hill Country Telephone is more of a certainly a domestic focused company, and not only domestic but Hill Country related. So pretty much everybody we deal with is Central Time Zone, or if they're in the U.S., they're just 1 or 2 time zones away. So I'm not answering calls at 2 in the morning to people on the other side of the planet.
True. But even still, I know you have a coworker, and several of them actually live in San Antonio. So the same scenario.
That's true.
You could sit there. They could sit there and work a little extra because, they're not in the car. I guess it really doesn't matter what time zone you're on. I mean, everybody kind of typically wants to overcompensate, I would think. And from, you being down the hall and my new coworker.
That's true. That's true.
I've heard you on calls later in the evening because, oh, it's just 6 o'clock. I'll just finish this one thing, or, oh, it's just 7 o'clock. So yeah, it happens to the best of us. I think, our work ethic bleeds into our moral ethics.
That's true.
And you have a drive to want to work, so it doesn't matter if you're in an office.
In fact, I want to get just like the podcast. This is enjoyable to me. I'm having fun doing this. Hence, it's late at night, and I asked you to join me to do this. It's fun, and I want to do it. I want to be better at it. I want to learn the craft. Now, and it doesn't have to be podcasting. It could be any other job that, hey, I want to be good at it. And when I'm at home, I have the chance to get more done. And if getting things done is your focus, your MO, then this is fantastic. I'd rather be at my desk getting something done than I would just be sitting on the couch watching TV. Because if I'm on the couch, I will be eating the ice cream and eating the chips. While I'm at my desk, I won't be quite so bad. But I'd get some sense of accomplishment. So being at home where I can work all hours of the day and night for me is fun. Sure. Well, let's change gears real quick. This is you and I've been talking here for 8 or 10 minutes. This is the longest probably that we've gone all day long without any kind of distractions. Usually it's the four-legged.
And the first time we pretty much seen each other all day.
And that's true too. Just because, yeah, that's right. I haven't seen you work, down the hall, just 20 yards. But I never see you. That's funny. But as far as distractions, ours is usually the 4-legged kind. However, we do have a couple 2-leggeds around here, but it's usually the distractions are manageable, but they are distractions sometimes. So how do you balance having a corporate job with also being a mother and having a family, that doesn't understand what you do and always wants your attention, when you're on that call with someone around the world? How do you separate those two?
Sure. I mean, it's one of those things that starts with you, right? I mean, you need to recognize what's good for you. How is your personality? Are you easily distracted? Do you need a room that you can close off the world, and that has a door on it? Do you prefer working in an open aired concept, like a cubicle style? Are you okay with the traffic? Can you sit at your kitchen table. These are all things that you need to identify. For me personally, every day I like to get up. I like to get dressed. I put on clothes. I have to get out of my pajamas. Not going to say that I am office worthy. I know you laugh. Stop laughing. I know. Yoga pants every single day, every single shade, But no, seriously, I do try to dress. I don't put on makeup. I think I saw my makeup bag for the first time. We had a doctor's appointment, a week ago. So that's
right.
the first time you've seen me with makeup in quite some time. But make it make your environment work for you. So if that means creating a space, making pictures on your desk, those sorts of things, make it inviting. For me, I have to stay organized. The whole world could be awful in the house. I could have 5 loads of laundry, but I can't have those sitting by my desk to
True.
sit there and say, oh, I'll do those later, or I'll do those on a break. They have to be in another room. It has to exclusively be about work, and just talking to my family, establishing that communication, especially when she was little. She'd start reading. I'd say, Mommy's putting a post on the door. If this post is on the door, it says calls. Don't come knocking on the door because I have to be on a call. But, once that call's over, I'll come and see you if you have anything. And it was cute because she'd take Post-its and slide them under the door when she'd want something or something like that. And that was okay. So, and your schedule could change daily. Obviously, ours does too.
Sure.
But as she got older, she was more self-sufficient. It was a good learning tool. In times that we're in right now, families are coming together in all different kinds of ways.
That's true.
Someone who, a little 6-year-old kid who didn't make sandwiches before now knows how to make, their own lunch safely,
right.
or 8, 10, whatever. And Kylie did the same thing. So I think you just have to identify your distractions and don't wait until you're jumping into a call to tell the kids to be quiet and I'm getting on the phone, that kind of thing. But really just establish everything and make a plan.
For me, as soon as I came home, you have this mindset that, oh yeah, I want to work from home and how great that's going to be. And then you get home and you're like, what do I do now? It's the weirdest thing in the world. And for me, it took several days. I think you
Yes.
saw me. I would lose my mind, in the middle of one afternoon, and I would just have to get in the car and drive around the block, and didn't do anything. And I'm not an exerciser, so I didn't go run 10 miles or anything like that. But I just had to get out. And as soon as I got out, something happened. My mind would reset, and then I could come back home and go back to work. But I did that for off and on, I guess, for a week or so, and then I hate the phrase new normal, but for me, that's what it was. I developed a new normal. And
Sure.
Now I get up in the morning. I'm with you. I have to get dressed, I have a business shirt on now. I have to, if it's Monday through Friday, I have an HCTC shirt on, and everybody that knows me knows that.
And he's still doing it.
That's what I do. I wear a company shirt every day.
Yeah.
That's what I do. But that's part of my routine. And then I come back into my desk. And I didn't have to drive down to the office, but I'm here and I'm plugged in. But I didn't get there overnight, and so I guess not everybody can do this, but if you can, you really can be productive. The subheading in the magazine article says work from home policies boost productivity. So what are some ways that you can still stay connected to your team, because you have teams that are literally all over the world?
I do.
So how do you stay connected when you guys are so far apart?
Sure. So that was something that was one thing that I've seen evolve with technology. When I first started in 2006, of course we had the internet. Of course things were going on, but we were all kind of learning things, and we were on telephones. We didn't have Zoom calls, WebExes, those
Right.
sorts of things, and we didn't even have chat functions. So
Oh no.
yeah, so it was a huge disconnect, and you felt very isolated. So one thing that we did then, and we've even adopted, and it's grown, is making time for each other. Chats are great. I'm constantly chatting all day long with my coworkers, just because even we're sitting all over the place, like you said. So chats are constant. When we go into team meetings, business is business, and business is very important, and that's the number one driver why we're all, sitting behind our desks. But what's important is to do a temperature check on everyone, do a pulse check, just to break the ice. I lead multiple calls during the day. I spend at least 3 to 5 minutes on each call just to see how everyone's doing. Not necessarily in the new world we're living in, but how things are going. How was that soccer game with your son the other day? Those sorts of things, and keep it as if you're talking to a girlfriend or one of your friends, on the phone. And it really breaks the ice and the tension, especially I have multiple deadlines. There's expectations like we all have. It just kind of sets the tone for the meeting. And then there's times that we've actually, once a month, I like to set a call that it's an hour of just socializing. We'll spend time on trivia games. So one thing that's fun for us is the Guess Who. We send in pictures. We may send in pictures of our cars, our workspace, our desk, and be fun. Like, oh, so and so has a messy desk, or that's got to be John, or and we've even had Christmas parties.
Christmas parties.
Yeah, we even have Christmas parties online, so that's fun too. So, and this was all pre-Zoom, where we're not video calling, video conferencing and stuff. So you just find ways to make it work and stay connected.
I guess you do what you have to do. I mean, whatever the circumstances,
sure.
what they require. And not everybody can do that, but it certainly does take a special person. So. Those of us listening to this call are probably wondering, am I going to be at home for 14 years, or am I going to be back? I say I've been home since like the 20th of March. I knew I'd be here through the 1st of April. And then I thought, well, I bet I'll be back 1st of May. And then it was, oh my goodness, it may be as late as June, and now we're in the second week in July. So, we don't know how this is going to go down, but it's been good.
Sure, and I think fun. Yeah, and it seems like it's the new normal, right? I mean, even like I said, I'm in HR. I'm seeing our productivity hasn't slowed. We're still hiring, business as usual, but it looks different. Yeah. We have a lot of situations now where roles will be exclusively remote or 50-50 remote, and it's to adapt to our new environment.
So you've had to redefine some of the roles.
Absolutely.
I guess. Okay.
Even people who were, I can never see myself, or we can never see this function of the business not sitting on one of our campuses, are now going to exclusively be remote.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So it's taking a turn.
Fantastic. That's fascinating. So, any advice you have for those of us that are new at this working from home thing?
Stay organized and give yourself some grace.
Okay. All right.
It's a hard adjustment for some and easier for others.
Well, perfect. Well, Stephanie, thank you for joining me today, and we appreciate everybody listening to us talk about our 6-second commute. So technically, I have a 6-second commute as well too. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope you could gain some insights from what Stephanie had to say about her 6-second commute. And the information that we're talking about is the subject matter rather is from our magazine that we produce every other month. And if you want to see it, it's on our website at hctc.net under resources and under news. I think if you go news, you can go under newsletters and you can find it under there. So go read that if you want to and get to know a little more about us and about the company. So if you want to contact me to say, hey, love the content, or if you have any questions or comments, send those to podcast@hctc.net. Thanks again for joining us. This podcast should not be copied, distributed, published, or reproduced either in whole or in part without the express written consent of HCTC. Any inquiries relating to the podcast should be directed to the Manager of Community Relations at podcast@hctc.net. Thank you so much for joining us.